3:47 in the morning. The room is dark except for the rectangle of light in your hand. You have been awake for an hour. You do not remember opening the phone. You only know that the contact list is open and your thumb is moving, and the names are sliding past your eyes like the credits of a film you did not watch. You are looking for someone to call. You will not find them. There are 1,247 names in this phone. You scroll past Aaron, then Abby, then Adam K, then Adam M, then Adam from the conference. You do not know which conference. You cannot picture his face. You scroll past Alex, 3 of them, and you cannot tell them apart.
You scroll past Amy, who you think might have been somebody's sister. You scroll past the Andersons, who came as a unit, and the Andrews, who came as a noise. You scroll past Angela, who you owe a coffee from 2021. You scroll past Antoine, who saved your seat at a wedding once and disappeared. You scroll past Ari, who once told you a long story about his father, and you have forgotten the story. You stop on the letter B. You do not call anyone. You set the phone face down on the mattress and you stare at the ceiling, and somewhere underneath the exhaustion there is a small voice that says, very quietly, very exactly, I have 1,247 names, and not one of them is a person I can wake up. You do not know it yet, but this is the moment your friendship economy collapses. The numbers do not work. The audit has begun, and it is going to take you 6 years to finish counting. There is another phone in another city. It belongs to Carina Hughes. She is 38. Her contact list has fewer than 200 names, and most of those are dentists and contractors and the woman who cuts her hair. The names that matter are 4. They are at the top of her favorites. She has not had to scroll for any of them in 9 years. If she woke up at 3:47 in the morning with her chest tight, she would tap the first one. The phone would ring twice. A voice would say, "What's going on, honey? Are you all right?" And the night would no longer be alone. This is the same world. These are the same minutes of the same night. But you are running 2 completely different economies of love. Hers is small, slow, expensive, and rich. Yours is vast, fast, cheap, and bankrupt. You are about to discover the math. A name is not a connection. A connection is not a friendship. A friendship is not love. Say it once, you will hear it again later, and it will mean something different than it does right now. Let me take you back. Let me take you all the way back. Because the trouble does not start at 3:47 in the morning. The trouble starts on a green lawn in Boston in June, and you are 22 years old, and you have just graduated, and your life is about to begin. You are standing on a lawn in front of a brick building, and you are holding a plastic cup of warm beer, and the sun is going down behind the chapel, and there are 300 people in caps and gowns getting drunk together for the last time, and your phone is buzzing in your pocket every 90 seconds. You take it out. New contact, new contact, new contact. By the end of that weekend, you have added 147 new names. By the end of 3 weeks, your contact list will hit 312. You are 22 and you are convinced with the entire weight of your unbroken heart that this is what success looks like. The expanding ledger, the widening net. The graduation present you give yourself is the belief that you will never be alone again because you have the numbers. Look at you. You are standing on that lawn. The light is golden. Someone is laughing somewhere. A girl whose name you will not remember by Tuesday hugs you and says, "We have to keep in touch," and you both nod, and you both believe it, and neither of you is lying. You are simply not yet old enough to know that keeping in touch is one of the most expensive verbs in the English language, and you have just signed 312 invoices in a single weekend. You feel powerful. You do not know yet that what you are feeling is a kind of hunger, the kind that wants to eat the room. There is, somewhere on a different lawn, in a different state, a girl named Carina Hughes. She is 22 also. She is at her own graduation. She has 6 new names from the weekend. By the end of 3 weeks, she will be down to 4, because 2 of them will not return her texts, and she will simply let them go without ceremony. She does not collect. She has never collected.
Her mother taught her at 7, "Honey, you do not have 100 friends. Nobody does. You have 2 or 3, and you protect them like good knives." Carina, at 22, has a roommate named Iris Park, a friend from high school named Theo Reyes, a former roommate, now best friend, named June Okafor, and a cousin she has been close to since they were 8 named Daniel. 4. That is the number she will carry, with small, quiet adjustments, into her late 30s. You will not meet Carina until you are 32.
By the time you do, the gap between your life and hers will be 10 years wide and 400% in her favor, and you will not understand why at first, because you are doing what everyone told you to do, and she is doing what no one told her to do, and only one of you will be in a hospital alone at 28, wondering why your phone does not ring. But that is later. Right now you are 22, and the number is 312, and you feel like you have won something. You turn 25. The number has not stopped growing. The number has, in fact, become a religion. You live in a city now. It is loud. You do not remember choosing it. You took a job, and the job was here, and the apartment was here, and the people were here. And the people, oh, the people. There are so many of them. You go to networking events 4 nights a week. Real networking events with name tags on sticky paper, but also the casual kind, the just a few of us getting drinks kind, the come through, you'll know everyone kind. You always go. You go because you are afraid to miss the night when the right person walks in and changes your life. You go because saying yes is a discipline you do not yet know how to interrupt. Your LinkedIn says 1,847 connections. You check it more often than you check your bank balance. The number is, in some private chamber of your skull, the bank balance, the proof that you are someone, the proof that you have arrived, the proof that the loneliness you brought with you on the bus from Boston has been outrun by sheer arithmetic. People say it to you like a compliment. You know everyone. They say it at parties when they need an introduction. They say it in offices when they need a lead. They say it when they want a favor, and they say it when they want to flatter you. And you, 25 years old, and starving for a particular kind of mirror, take it as proof that the strategy is working. It is not working. It has never been working. But you cannot see this yet. You are too busy. You are too busy on a Tuesday night at a rooftop bar with a man named Brennan who wants to pitch you something. You are too busy on a Wednesday at a private dinner where you nod through a conversation about a fund you do not understand. You are too busy on a Thursday at a launch party where you hug 7 people whose names you will lose by Sunday. You are too busy on a Friday at a just a few of us gathering of 40 strangers, and on Saturday at a brunch that becomes a lunch, that becomes a dinner, that becomes a club, and you stagger home at 4 in the morning, and you have spoken to perhaps 90 people that day, and you cannot, if you sit very still and try, name one thing any of them said that you will remember on Monday. You are confusing visibility for belonging. This is the great currency error of your 20s. You are spending hours like dollars and earning in return recognition. Recognition is not connection. Recognition is the security guard at the building nodding at you because he has seen your face. It does not mean he knows you. It does not mean he would notice if you stopped coming. You do not know this. Not yet. Carina Hughes, at 25, has dinner with the same 3 women every other Sunday. They are Iris and June and a new one, May Tanaka, who June introduced 2 years ago and who has slowly, carefully, with no campaigning, become the 4th. Theo, Carina's high school friend, moved to Berlin. The fade was honest. There was no rupture. They text on birthdays. He is not in the 4 anymore, and she does not pretend he is. Her dinners are at her kitchen table. Pasta, usually. The same wine. They have been having a single ongoing conversation for 3 years. Each Sunday is a chapter. They know each other's mothers. They know each other's exes. They know whose period is late, and whose boss is cruel, and whose father has started forgetting names. Carina, at 25, does not feel like she is winning. She does not feel like anything in particular. She feels like a person who has dinner on Sundays. The strange luxury of her life, the thing you will not be able to buy back at 38, no matter what you do, is that she is not performing. There is no audience. The 4 people at her table know the unedited version of her, and they have known it long enough that she has stopped editing. You at 25 are editing in real time, in 9 different chats on 3 different platforms for an audience of 1,847. You feel powerful. You feel something else too, and you will not name it until much later.
It is in the car ride home from the rooftop bar. It is in the elevator at 1 a.m. It is in the moment between closing your apartment door and turning on the light. There is, in those small, still seconds, a sensation that the room you are walking into is larger than the room you left, and emptier, and that nothing in your phone, nothing in any of your 1,847 connections can fill it. You turn the light on. The sensation goes away. You think this is normal. It is normal. That is the worst part. It is normal because it is happening to almost everyone you know. The hunger is general. The hunger does not feel like hunger because everyone is starving in the same way at the same time, and a famine that everyone is in does not look like a famine. It looks like the weather. 3 years pass like this. You are 28 before you notice that something is wrong, and the way you notice is that your body decides to break. It is a Thursday in March. You are at your desk. There is a pain in your lower back that you have been ignoring for 2 days. By noon, you cannot stand up straight. By 2, you are sweating through your shirt. By 3, you are in a cab to the emergency room with one hand pressed to the small of your back and the other holding your phone, because that is the hand you no longer know what to do without. It is a kidney stone. They tell you this in a hallway under fluorescent light. They tell you it will pass and that you will be fine. And they admit you for the night because the pain is not yet under control, and they put you in a curtained bay with a bed and a small window that looks at another small window, and they leave you alone with a saline drip and a button you can press for more medication. You take out your phone. You think, I should tell someone. You scroll. This is the moment. This is the hairline crack. You will not see it at the time because the morphine is doing its quiet work. But 6 years later, when you are sitting at your kitchen table at 11:14 at night, auditing your contact list, you will think back to this curtained bay and you will recognize it as the first time the truth tried to speak to you, and you turned up the saline. You scroll and you cannot decide whom to tell. Your parents are in another country, asleep, and you do not want to scare them. Your last serious girlfriend is 2 years gone, and you have not earned the right to text her at 7 p.m. from a hospital. Your closest friend from college lives in Seattle, and the time difference makes the math feel rude. And besides, you realize, with a small, dull surprise, you have not spoken to him in 14 months. The next 40 names in your favorites are work. They are useful. They are not the kind of people you call from a hospital. They are the kind of people you email from a hospital 3 days later with a polite explanation for why a deck is late. You scroll past Brennan, the rooftop man. You scroll past the 7 hugs from the launch party. You scroll past Andrews and Anderson and Angela, who you owe a coffee. You scroll past your 1,847, and you understand, in a way you cannot yet say out loud, that there is a category your phone does not have. It does not have the category called people who would come to a hospital. You put the phone face down on the blanket. You do not text anyone. You spend the night alone in the curtained bay, and in the morning, you sign yourself out, and you take a cab home. And on the cab ride, you write one sentence in your head that you will spend the next 4 years trying not to hear. I have done something wrong with my life, and I do not know what. You go back to work on Monday. You tell exactly 2 people that you were in the hospital, and both of them say, "Oh God, are you okay?" And you say, "Yeah, fine, just a stone, all good now." And that is the end of the conversation. The crack closes. The famine resumes. You add 11 new contacts that week. You tell yourself you did not want to bother anyone. This is the lie. Write it down. I did not want to bother anyone. It is the most popular lie of your generation, and it is the lie that lets the famine keep its disguise. You did not want to bother anyone because you suspected, on some level you would not look at directly, that there was no one in your phone whose life was woven tightly enough with yours to be bothered. To be bothered, someone has to be near. Nobody was near. You had built a life with no one near. The kidney stone was small. It passed in 3 days. The other thing, the thing the kidney stone showed you and you refused to look at, that one is still in you. It is still in you at 30. It is still in you at 31. It will be in you on the night you finally sit down at the kitchen table and start counting. And you will pass it then like a much larger stone, and that one will not be small. But that is years away. Right now, you are 28. You are alone. You are convinced you are fine. And your phone is buzzing with a calendar invite for Thursday drinks with a man named Cameron, who you met once at a panel. You go. Of course you go. You are 32 when you meet Carina Hughes. It is a wedding. A mutual friend, a real one by her standards, an acquaintance by yours, is getting married in a vineyard in upstate New York, and you have driven up alone in a rented car, and you are seated at table 11, and Carina is in the chair to your left. She is not what you would have noticed at 25. She is wearing a navy dress that is not trying. Her hair is pulled back without design. She has a small scar through her left eyebrow that you will later learn she got at 9, falling off a bicycle her cousin Daniel was steering. She drinks 1 glass of wine across the entire reception, and she does not look at her phone once. You notice the phone thing first. You notice it because you are looking at yours every 6 minutes, and at some point in the salad course, you realize the woman next to you has not. Not once. Not when the speeches were boring, not when the bride and groom kissed, not when the band started. Her phone has been in her bag since she sat down, and she has been, instead, present, in the slow, complete way that you have not been present anywhere in 9 years. You ask her what she does. She tells you. She is a hospital social worker. She works with families during long pediatric stays. The number she gives you when you ask about caseload is small, and the number she gives you when you ask how long she has done it is large. And somewhere between those two numbers, your brain notices that this is a person who has made a different bargain with time than you have. You ask her, because you ask everyone this, "Do you know a lot of people in the city?" She smiles. She says, "No." She says it without apology. She says it the way someone might say, "No, I do not eat meat," as a fact about herself, neither defended nor advertised. She says, "I have 4 close friends, and they are enough." You laugh. You laugh because you do not know what else to do. You laugh because in your economy, 4 close friends is the answer of a person who has failed at something. 4 is what you say when you mean, "I tried and could not get more." 4 is a deficit. 4 is a confession. But she is not confessing, she is reporting. She is reporting it the way a person reports the temperature of a room they have lived in for 10 years. You ask her, because the laugh did not land, and you need a follow-up. Only 4? She says, "I see them every week. It has been like this for 9 years. Every week, for 9 years. Your brain does the arithmetic against your will. Every week for 9 years is approximately 468 Sundays. 468 dinners, 468 ongoing chapters of one ongoing conversation with people who have known her since before her mother got sick, since before her last relationship ended, since before she chose this work, since before. You try to think of the last person you saw every week for 9 years. You cannot. You try to think of the last person you saw every week for 1 year. You cannot. You try to think of the last person you saw every week for 6 months. There is your trainer at the gym. You stop thinking. The toast begins. The bride's father is talking. You are not listening. You are looking at your hands on the white tablecloth, and you are doing, for the first time in your life, the math you have been running from for 10 years. If she has seen 4 people every week for 9 years, she has roughly 2,000 encounters with each of them. Roughly 2,000 small accumulations. 2,000 chances to be known a little more, to be forgiven a little more, to be witnessed. You have 1,847 connections, and almost none of them have witnessed you twice. 2,000 encounters with one person versus one encounter with 2,000 people. Same numbers, different lives. You feel something cold pass through your chest and settle somewhere underneath your sternum, and you understand, in the slow way understanding happens when it is overdue, that you have been confusing the noun friend with the verb to know, and that they are not the same word. And that one of them you have done 1,847 times badly, and the other one you have not done at all. There is a researcher named Robin Dunbar. He is a primatologist by training. In the early 90s, he ran a famous study comparing the size of the neocortex in primates against the size of the social groups they reliably maintain, and he found a hard ceiling. For humans, the number is roughly 150. That is the upper limit of stable relationships your brain can carry. Inside the 150 are smaller circles. Roughly 50 people you would call friends. Roughly 15 you would call close. Roughly 5 you would call intimate. The numbers are not soft, they are biological. You cannot bargain with the neocortex. There is another researcher named Julianne Holt-Lunstad. She is at Brigham Young. In 2010, she published a meta-analysis in PLoS Medicine that pooled 148 studies, 300,000 participants, and asked one question: how much does social connection actually affect mortality? The answer she got, and confirmed in 2015, is that people with stronger social relationships have a 50% increased likelihood of survival over a given follow-up period, and that loneliness and isolation carry a mortality risk equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. There is a study at Harvard. It has been running since 1938. It is the longest scientific study of adult happiness ever conducted. Robert Waldinger directs it now. The single strongest predictor of late-life health and happiness, stronger than cholesterol, stronger than wealth, stronger than genes, is the quality of close relationships at age 50. You are 32 at this wedding. You have 18 years. You sit at table 11 with your hands on the white tablecloth, and you do the only math that has ever scared you. 150 is the ceiling. 50 is friends. 15 is close. 5 is intimate. You have 1,847 names. You have, by your own honest count, 0 in the inner 5, possibly 2 in the 15, possibly 6 in the 50. The rest is weather. The rest is 1,797 instances of weather that you mistook for shelter. Something breaks inside you at table 11. It is not loud. It is the sound of an old belief settling onto the floor of a room you no longer live in. You do not cry. You do not say anything. You finish the toast you were not listening to. You shake Carina's hand at the end of the night, and you do not ask for her number because you understand, dimly, that you have not earned it, and that the asking would itself be the old behavior, the collecting, the adding of one more name to a ledger that has never paid out. You drive back to the city in the dark. You do not turn on the radio. You think about the kidney stone. You think about the curtained bay. You think about the cab home and the sentence you wrote in your head and refused to hear for 4 years. I have done something wrong with my life, and I do not know what. You know what now. You will not act on it for 3 more years. That is how these things go. Knowing is not doing. Knowing is the room you have to sit in for a long time before you can find the door. You will keep going to the events. You will keep adding the names. You will tell yourself you are thinking about it. You are working on it. You are going to make some changes. and you will do, in concrete terms, almost nothing. You are 35 before you sit down at the kitchen table. It is a Tuesday. It is 11:14 at night. You have come home from a dinner where you spoke to 14 people and remember none of them. You have poured a glass of water you are not drinking. You have opened the laptop. You have synced your contacts to the screen, all of them, every name, every number, alphabetical, scrollable. You start counting, not a casual count, a real one. You make 4 columns on a piece of paper. Column 1, people I have spoken to in the last 30 days. Column 2, people I could call without rehearsing the first sentence. Column 3, people who would come to a hospital. Column 4, people who would notice if I disappeared for a month. The total in your phone is 1,247. You have already let some go. You have stopped going to a few things. You have, without admitting it, begun the pruning. Column 1 comes back at 62. Column 2 comes back at 19. Column 3 comes back at 6. Column 4 comes back at 4. You sit with column 4 for a long time. The 4 are not who you expected. One of them is your sister, who you have not been close to in your adult life, but who has, you realize, been quietly, persistently, every 2 weeks, sending you a text asking how you are. One of them is a man named Wes from your first job out of college, who you have lunch with every 6 weeks, and who, you suddenly understand, you have had lunch with every 6 weeks for 11 years, without ever calling him a friend in your own head. One of them is your mother. One of them is a woman named Priya, who lived in your building for 3 years and moved to Toronto, and still calls you on your birthday, and still sends you a photo when she sees something you would like. 4 people who would, in the language of your column, notice. 1,193 of the names in your phone would not. You sit with this. You do not run from it. The water glass beads on the table. The laptop dims, and you do not touch the trackpad. The apartment is so quiet, you can hear the refrigerator. You think, I cannot unsee this. You think, it is not even sad. It is just true. You think, and this is the thought that stays. The question is not, how do I get more? The question is, how do I stop pretending the rest are mine? You sit with that one until the laptop screen goes black. You do not act for another 6 months. You think about it constantly. You start watching yourself at events. You start noticing the small editing you do, the small performance, the way you have learned to be a slightly different person for each cluster of names. You start noticing how tired it makes you, and how the tiredness is not a recent thing, how the tiredness is, in fact, the floor of your adult life, the constant background pressure you have been mistaking for ambition. You start, very quietly, not going. You skip a lunch, nobody notices. You skip a Thursday drink, nobody notices. You skip 3 Saturdays in a row, and on the 4th Saturday, you wake up and the apartment is full of a kind of light you have not seen in a decade. The light of a morning that does not have a small, low hum of dread underneath it. And you stand at the window with a cup of coffee, and you understand that you have given yourself back a country. You are 36 when you do the index card. It is not a ceremony. You do not call it anything. You take a small white index card from a drawer, and you sit at the kitchen table again, and you write 4 names on it, in pencil, lowercase. You do not write my 4 people at the top. You do not write a date. You write the names. You look at them. You put the card in the drawer. Then you do the only thing that matters, the thing that takes you the next 2 years to actually do. You start treating those 4 names like the only ones. You text your sister every Sunday. Not a check-in, a real message, a thing that happened, a thing you saw. You ask her about her week, and you read her answer twice. You send her a voice note when you cannot find the words. She, in turn, starts sending you longer answers. The conversation, which has been a thin, polite line for 15 years, begins to thicken. You start having dinner with Wes every 2 weeks instead of every 6. You suggest it. He says yes. You realize, with a small private shock, that he has been waiting for you to suggest it, possibly for years, and that the reason you only saw him every 6 weeks was not his preference but yours, and yours was set by the famine, by the belief that there was always somewhere else to be. You call your mother on Wednesdays. Not when you need something, just Wednesdays. She begins to expect it. Her voice on Wednesdays becomes a different voice than her voice on the other days. You begin a small ritual with Priya in Toronto, a photo every Sunday morning, whatever you saw that week. She sends one back. There is no pressure. There is no performance. There is, slowly, a record forming. 2 parallel weeks, side by side, stitched into something that begins to look like the only correspondence in your life that does not require editing. The 1,193 other names do not disappear. You do not delete them. That would be its own kind of performance, its own ritual of cruelty. You just stop tending them. You stop responding to the "we should grab coffee" texts that have been circulating for years with no follow-through. You stop adding new names at events you no longer go to. You let the network thin the way a forest thins, by attrition, by season, by the simple absence of water. It thins faster than you expected. By 38, your phone has fewer than 600 names. The ones who left politely. Most of them did not notice they were leaving. They drifted out of your weather the way you had drifted out of theirs for years, without rupture, without ceremony, without anyone being wrong. The 4 are still there. They are more than they were. Your sister, last spring, called you crying about her marriage. You drove 4 hours to sit on her porch. You did not have to rehearse what to say in the car. You just drove. You sat with her until 2 in the morning. When she walked you to your car, she said, "I did not know who else to call." And you said, "That is correct. I am the person you call." And you both laughed in the way people laugh when something true has been said for the first time. Wes called you in November to tell you his father had died. You went to the funeral. You stood next to him at the grave. You did not say anything useful. You stood there. He told you afterwards that the standing was the useful part. Your mother is older now. She forgets some things. The Wednesday calls have become the structure of her week. She told you that last month in a soft voice, and you understood that you had given her something that you could not have given her at 25, because at 25, you did not have it to give. You did not have Wednesdays. You only had Thursdays at rooftop bars. Priya flew down for your 38th birthday. She slept on your couch. You made her breakfast on Sunday, and you sent the photo to no one because there was no one left in your life who needed proof. This is the part where I am supposed to tell you what to do. I am not going to tell you what to do. The structure does not work that way. The structure works by showing. Here is what I will say. There is a night, sometime in the next year of your life, where you will wake up at 3:47 in the morning. The room will be dark except for the rectangle of light in your hand. You will not remember opening the phone. Your thumb will be moving. The names will be sliding past. When that night comes, you have a choice, and the choice is not the one you think it is. The choice is not whom to call. The choice is what to count. You can count names. You will get 1,000. You will not sleep. Or you can put the phone face down, and you can ask yourself, instead, who, in the geography of my actual life, would answer? If the answer is 0, the audit has begun, and I am sorry, and also, it is not too late. Carina did not start at 4. She started at 6 and pruned to 4 over a decade by the simple discipline of seeing the same people on the same Sundays until the seeing became the friendship and the friendship became the love. If the answer is 1, treat that one like the only one. Repetition is the entire technology. Holt-Lunstad's data does not care if you have 30 close friends or 3. It cares whether you are seen regularly by someone who knows you. The mortality curve does not bend for breadth, it bends for depth. If the answer is 4, you already know what I am about to say. Protect them like good knives. That is what Carina's mother told her at 7. It took me until 35 to hear it. A name is not a connection. A connection is not a friendship. A friendship is not love. The mantra, 3rd time. Listen. A name is a row in a database. A connection is 2 rows that touched once. A friendship is 2 rows that have touched 1,000 times in the same kitchen on the same Sundays for 9 years. Love is what happens to the rows by then. Love is the 3rd thing, the emergent thing, the thing that does not exist in either row alone and only appears at a certain density of repetition. You cannot fake the density. You cannot speed it up. You cannot scale it.
You cannot 1,847 your way around it. The neocortex will not allow it. Dunbar showed this. Holt-Lunstad confirmed the cost. Waldinger followed it for 85 years and reported back with the only number that has ever mattered, which is the number of people who will, at 3:47 in the morning, pick up the phone. That number, for almost everyone in the study, was small, single digits, often less than 5, sometimes 1, almost never more than 10. 85 years of data, 3 generations of subjects, and the conclusion was a number you could fit on an index card in pencil. You can fit yours on an index card too. Go get one. I will wait. 3:47 in the morning, 4 names. Any of them would answer. That is the whole video. That is the whole math. That is the whole arc from the lawn in Boston to the kitchen at 35 to the porch with your sister at 38. 1,247 became 4, and the 4 became more than the 1,000 ever was, and you did not lose anything real on the way down, because nothing on the way down had been real to begin with. A name is not a connection. A connection is not a friendship. A friendship is not love. You know what those words mean now. You did not know at 22. You do now. That is the whole gift of the audit, not the 4 names, the knowing. Take the index card, write the names, put it in the drawer. Do not show it to anyone. Do not announce it. Do not delete the rest. Just stop pretending. Stop adding. Start repeating. The Sundays will come, 9 years of them if you are lucky. 468 chapters of one ongoing conversation with people who, by the end of it, will know you in a way no one in your phone knows you tonight. That is the country Carina has been living in since she was 22. It is not closed to you. The door is the index card. The key is the repetition. The cost is everything you thought 1,000 names was worth. Pay it. I wish I had paid it earlier. I wish someone had sat me down at 22 on that lawn in Boston with the warm beer and said, "Put the phone in your pocket. The girl hugging you is not your friend. She will not be. 6 of these 300 people will be in your life in 5 years, and you do not yet know which 6. Stop counting. Start watching. Show up the 2nd time. Show up the 10th time. Show up the 100th. The 100th time is where the friendship begins. Everything before the 100th is rehearsal. Nobody told me. I am telling you. 3:47 in the morning. Put the phone face down. Count the names that would answer. If the number is small, you are not failing. You are starting. Next week, we leave the inside of the house and we go outside into the quiet patterns of the world, the small repeating shapes that the noise has been hiding from you. Episode 11. I will see you there. A name is not a connection. A connection is not a friendship. A friendship is not love. Good night.